Listen to a piece of this rock and roll hit from 1956.
Why do birds sing so gay? Love was my way to play.
The lead singer on that hit was only 13 years old. 12 years later, he was dead from an overdose of drugs. His story and the latest remake of his song are coming up.
The hits from coast to coast, American Top 40.
Well, now we're up to the remake of a hit from 1956 by a group whose lead singer was only 13 years old, rock and roll's first teenage star. He sounded like this.
Love was my way to play.
That song, Why Do Fools Fall in Love, was the first hit for Frankie Lymon and the Teenagers back in the early years of the rock and roll era, when lead singer Frankie Lymon was only 13 years old. The Teenagers had a few other hits in the late 50s, songs like I Want You to Be My Girl, Goody Goody, and I Promise to Remember, but they never again matched that first success. In the early 60s, the Teenagers disbanded and the members went off in different directions. Frankie Lymon had dreams of becoming a successful solo act, but when things didn't go right, he turned to the street and to drugs. Another of the Teenagers, Herman Santiago, said in a Village Voice interview he remembered seeing Frankie hanging out on corners, waiting for a drug connection. He'd say to Frankie, "For this you left the group?" And he would tell Frankie, "When you're busy, you don't have time for that stuff, but it's always there when you're not working." Through his late teens and early 20s, Frankie Lymon was in and out of hospitals in a continuous battle with drugs. Finally, in 1967, the drugs won. Frankie Lymon died of an overdose. He was only 25 years old. That's the sad story of the lead singer of the Teenagers. Now, with her remake of the biggest hit by Frankie Lymon and the Teenagers, here's Diana Ross at number 8 with Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
The hits from